Welcome to Living by Design again. Our topic today is Down syndrome. I was going to do a section on female reproductive health a bit later, but sadly, a post on Facebook prompted me to do this video. Somebody was posting about how bad it is for women to have children later, to get married later in life, and how bad it is for them to work. I thought best is for everybody to understand what female reproductive health is all about, how age affects reproduction, and dispel some of the myths. Some of the early research has shown to be in many fields a fallacy. And we can see today that some parents are very young when they have Down's children. Now we're going to have a look at what actually is the cause of Down syndrome. And for that we need to understand our body genetics first of all. If we take this as a body cell, each of our body cells have 23 pairs of chromosomes. That says 46 single chromosomes. And these chromosomes come from the mother and the father. Now, all our body cells contain that 46 chromosomes or that 23 pairs. And when we are born, and I'm speaking female, we have a batch or a reservoir of egg cells that are half in the making. And prompted by certain hormones, these egg cells will be prompted to complete their maturation and then be expelled into the system to be fertilized. If we look at the last phase of that maturation, and let's for example say we take this as the pair of chromosomes involved, okay? All the chromosomes in pairs, they may be scattered throughout the normal life of the cell. In the mother cells, when the egg cells are about to be formed, these chromosomes, they get together, they actually twist around, and then they separate again. And after that separation, we may see that this chromosome that was a pure white, this chromosome that was pure green, they emerge differently in that an exchange of information has occurred. As they were twisting and turning, parts of it latched onto another chromosome and broke off and attached to the other one of the pair. And so instead of having one chromosome that is pure green and one chromosome that was pure white, that formed the pair, let's say the white came from the father, the green came from the mother. When they separate, we may have a mixture of information on both of the chromosomes, and we look at the chromosome being of two chromatids. Each of them have two chromatids, and when they separate like that, this is the cause of genetic variation. But sometimes we find that when in the case of Down syndrome, these two chromosomes have entwined so much that when they have to separate, it's impossible, and both chromosomes go onto one side and nothing goes onto the other side. I will illustrate it in the following way. Now, from the mother cell, once they have separated, we would have in one egg cell only 23 chromosomes, not 23 pairs, only half of that, and it will be 23 chromosomes that are single. The same will happen in the male in the formation of the sperm cell, that the chromosomes separate and only 23 single chromosomes end up in a sperm cell. And when they combine during fertilization, we again have 23 pairs. That says the male and the female cells, they fuse and they form once again our body cell, which is 23 pairs of chromosomes, or 46. And that first cell is the start of the new life. Now, we're going to look at what happens then when the egg cell doesn't manage to separate successfully. If this represents the cells of the male and the female, in the egg cell we have this combined chromosomes, the whole pair that went over, and after fertilization the male cell joins it, right? So we had from the female, we had, instead of 23, we had 24 chromosomes, and in the end we have that extra chromosome becoming part of the new cell. So we have 2 chromosomes here and 1 there, and that is why they call it a trisomy. And for Down syndrome, we are dealing with chromosome pair number 21, and because there are 3 of them instead of 2, it is called a trisomy, and Down syndrome is also scientifically known as trisomy 21. Now, because of the extra chromosome, there are certain abnormalities in the child that is being formed. The extent of the abnormalities vary from case to case. When that egg cell matures, it is simply a matter of the last phases of that division to be completed and the chromosomes to separate and then form the separate egg cells. Now, when the body is under stress, particularly emotional stress, it might affect the formation of those egg cells. Their hormones are affected, and that might affect the separation of the chromosomes. Nobody is actually sure what happens down there. The only way we can be sure is if you are inside there and watch it, which is impossible. The moment we take something out of the normal context, it is no longer what actually really happens. Now, studies have in the past linked Down syndrome to age. Most of the people whom I know who have children with Downs, they were younger than 30. And after that, some of them had perfectly normal children. And many women whom I know who had children after the age of 35, even after 40. And I know of a lady who had a child at the age of 49, a perfectly normal child. So age has very little to do with the process of egg cell formation. It is rather the psychological state of the person that affects the hormones, and that will affect in turn the production of egg cells. And that not only goes for Down syndrome, there are a few others, but for now we are only concerning ourselves with Downs. And I am very sad to report that also I had a friend who at the age of 32 had her first born, and she was a little Downs, beautiful baby. Because of the stigma of age, the couple decided not to have more children, although my friend desperately wanted to have another child, but they were scared because of the 35. And although they knew about other people who had children after the age of 35 who were pretty normal, they were scared that because of the first Downs, the others might also be Downs. And the little Downs grew up alone. She had her 40th birthday not so long ago. Beautiful young lady. And what is important is that when we look at age for anything, it invalidates the body as a whole, because people's bodies differ. It ages differently, and thus the reproductive capacity of a person differs from one female to another. Most of the trisomies come from the female because probably of the way that the eggs have been stored. The sperm cell formation is very different. The egg cells are limited at birth already, and they simply mature as we mature. And that is when the body says, if egg cells more or less run out at a certain age, or the body gets tired, then the body goes into menopause. Things that we're not going to go into right now, but importantly, women, a message to yourself is live your life within limits, the way you feel fit for yourself. If you have children, however, they need to be considered because children comes before money. The first 2 years of a child's life is extremely important. So as much as possible, mothers, try to be present at your child for that 2 years. It is during these first 2 years that character is formed. Down syndrome is hardly related to age. I know many who are extremely young, who have given birth to Downs, and thereafter had absolutely perfectly intelligent, normal children. So do not limit yourself. Do not be oppressed by the rantings of these patriarchal figures on Facebook who try and paint women in a specific color and build the nation with beautiful, intelligent children. Whether they are Downs or have any other condition, they are the children of our Creator. Thank you.